Hey there, before you jump into our podcast, and we're excited to have you listen to this one. We're joined by Patrick Enin, and he comes to us from Switzerland. Yes, I travel the world to meet my guests. These guys are amazing, and I think you're going to value what he has to share. One thing I want you to take for this, if you want to grab a lesson for yourself, when you're setting business goals, how do you determine what's going to work? He used an interesting approach of tracking LinkedIn profiles of the people he wanted to be. He followed their journey and he mapped out his own. Do you think you can be successful in your business? Try that approach and see if it works for you. Much more that Patrick shares with us. He's an incredible entrepreneur, so strap in. You'll enjoy.
Hey everyone, and welcome. We are Next Level Business Advisors, and this is Business Stories of Success. If you want to break through and achieve your own business success by learning from other successful business owners, you're in the right channel. For more of our content, make sure you click subscribe and don't forget the bell icon so you're the first to be notified when new videos are added. Enjoy today's video.
Hello. You're with Marc Adams at Next Level Business Advisors, and today we're joined by Mr. Patrick Enin, and he's going to be talking to us. He's the owner of MoneSave LLC, but banana story way before MoneSave. We're going to talk about that a little bit. And if you can look out his back window, you see it's pitch black because he's not in Jersey. Hello, my friend. How are you?
That's true. Hey, how you doing?
Good. Tell us where you're from first.
Oh, that's a tricky question, a spaghetti question. I'm from Nigeria.
Ah.
I grew up in Ireland, and I'm currently in Switzerland.
Wow. So now I'm going to digress before we even get started. I just came back from vacation. I went to Italy. We flew into Zurich. Zurich was the most beautiful thing I've seen from the air. Is it absolutely gorgeous? And should I visit?
Yes, you should. It's perfect any time of the day. So I'm here, wherever you are, you're always 20, 30 minutes from the mountain. And we're talking beautiful, no matter what time of the day, you come in or you go and out. So I would recommend it. I fly to London a lot and obviously to the States. But when I come back to Zurich, it's like peace. Everything walks the clock, the trains, everything is just perfect. Almost too perfect to live in if you're from Africa.
Amazing.
But beautiful. You'd love it.
Okay.
I'll recommend it.
It's on my new bucket list. I'm starting a bucket list right now, and I'm going to Zurich. We'll meet up in person one day. How about that?
That would be good. We'll have this podcast again.
I would love it. I know. Well, just from when we were chatting before, you dropped so much knowledge on me that I said, I know my listeners are going to really enjoy learning from you. So let's jump in because I don't want to talk too much. I have a tendency to yammer. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your business.
Of course. I'll start with my business and then we can work backwards. So I've got two businesses. Firstly is Enin Consulting, where I help banks, top firms, and mostly on financial, on the trading and sales side of most top banks. We advise them, which I can't disclose, obviously, but we advise them on how to manage their books, how to manage their finances, and the most complex topics that are rather boring, which I'll come to my second business about. So the most boring things that are so complex that most people will not want to do, we advise buying that. And then my second business then is MoneSave, which is effectively another boring topic, savings. So effectively what we do is we try and put a social spin on savings and budgeting. So if you look at it today, most people, you would know the statistics, most people across the world, hardly, I think 60% of us don't have savings, emergency savings we can call on if required. And paradoxically, we all have cash to waste. If we wanted to go in on a holiday right now, the money will come through. If we wanted to go on and bet on the next Bitcoin or blockchain possible with 110x returns, we will get the money. Such that it seems to us, right, again, if you look at it to the crux of the matter, it's a boring topic. Savings and budgeting is boring. So what we do then is we try and make it as social as possible by allowing you, on the budgeting side, you can copy other users. So similar to what you have with eToro, MetaTrader today, where you sit back and copy investors and other top traders, you can copy other people's budgets. So again, if you come out of university You want to find out how much your rent should be or how much your savings should be, how much you spend on a car. You can simply copy another budget user who's within your space, within your age, and that's it. And automatically, every month, you follow that person's track all the way through to the holidays, to Christmas, to Easter, anything you'd want to do around the holidays there. So we were kind of excited about that. You could see obviously the market push is there, the wait list is growing, and obviously we're trying to spread the awareness on that, on the fact that boring, things that you find boring are not boring only because of that. It's just the way it's presented and spent.
Like it. And we talked earlier, so this business, and you have two. I'm going to fixate on MoneSave for a minute because you've explained it for us. It's a combination of tech and finance, right? So you have a site that's going to help people to do this social savings kind of concept. So then the next question I'm going to ask you is, how do we find you? What's the site? Where do we find this amazing product?
Correct. You just said it, MoneSave. So www.monesave.com. As simple as that. And effectively, again, as you said, it's a fintech. So we don't, and that's one thing we noticed as well with most banks today. You know all the story about the Silicon Valley banks, where most people or most banks actually focus on the balance sheet, less on the customers. So that's one issue there. And then the other point as well is, if you go into any of the investment managers or money managers, they care about their returns. We've taken another approach where we're actually on the tech side. So we just focus on you, on the customer. You pay a platform fee, but it's about you. Right. So again, for first stage, we work with one bank, but going forward, users will get to select what bank they want to work with on the platform and put their money there. If for some reason you don't trust the bank you're with, we will move that money immediately to another bank, such that we now become a fintech for the customer, and all they care about is how they can save and put money aside as a group. They can compete with each other if they want to on the app. They can also go ahead and decide to, again, we give rewards out. So you can pass the rewards among each other. Again, just like pass the buck as much as you want it. So there's a bit of gamification there, but again, we're more focused on the tech side, and we believe, again, you know this from obviously all the Facebook, YouTube, any of the fintech, Reddit. It's all about the tech. And if you bring tech to the forefront of most, any of your enterprise or business, which we'll talk about, then you're now focused on the customer. And then what you do afterwards is important. And then that's where, again, we see a lot of these issues around the tech side, where they go ahead and sell the data. And on the fintech side, you can't do that. So that's another important part, where we bring the customers to forefront here. To fintech, your data is protected, it goes directly to your bank as well, and it's protected all the way through standard security.
Wow. So yeah, that's pretty impressive. And you said MoneSave. I'm going to spell that out because unless I'm wrong, I'm missing a Y. So it's MoneSav.
That's correct. So think of MoneSave without the Y.
Right. Because I'm telling you, people are going to be running around looking for MoneY, and it's going to be like, wait, I can't find it. It's MoneSav.com.
Correct.
And that's where we're going to find our way, ladies and gentlemen, to saving money the fun way.
If you can put it on the chat as well.
Yes,
on the description,
we put it on your little cover page, so it'll be really cool. We're looking forward to getting some more deets. But before I jump into it a little bit, I want to ask you this question: what makes you the expert? Why should I listen to you about this?
Correct. So maybe I should go into my life story, or I could look back on that. Actually, you know what? I'll go into my history. That makes me the expert. So again, in terms of my finance, my backstory, so I came from Nigeria and grew up in Nigeria. I went to secondary school. You can tell from the accent, if not. I went to secondary school there. And speaking of, we'll come to the mindset and what you want to do, right? So I always thought about what I wanted to do in Nigeria. And there's a lot of people in Nigeria who might have the access abroad, or might have the access within the country of what they wanted to do. But I thought about myself, and I looked and I'm like, okay, what do I want to do? Like, what do I want to be going forward? And the first thing that came to mind was, I want somewhere quiet, peaceful. I wanted to go to university. Again, I could have gone to the UK or gone to US, but I thought about it. I wanted somewhere quiet with as much, without as much influence as possible. And with that, I went straight to, I picked Ireland. Again, coincidentally, my parents were in London, but I was born in Ireland. So I left my parents, didn't go to them, and went to Ireland alone. I went to Ireland alone, university, and put myself through university effectively because, again, I could have gotten a free education in London. I went to Ireland, put myself through university, working at night, and during the day, I was straight in university. People would know, again, you can always search and you see it on LinkedIn, by the way. So you can know what university I went to there, where it was a top 2 university. And then right after that, I went straight into banking. So I did finance, and as usual, you go in. And I think that's one thing that happens today. So I look at the trend, and back then, this was in 2008, 2009. I looked at where things were going, and I see, okay, what's important and what do you need to know? What knowledge do I need to know? Based on that, I went into finance. And from then, my final year of university, I actually got a job already, and I worked in banking. So
Oh, wow.
again, yeah, straight into banking, and went straight into the most complex possible structured products. So you might recall from the financial crisis, the CDO, CLOs, I was selling the products that cost that. So I got it, and that's what I had to learn. It was so complex. Again, I was a graduate, so I'm not going to say I was high up. But what I had to do was actually learn about the product, try and find out how the structures works and how the reporting worked. Again, it was quite interesting. In Ireland, Ireland wasn't a key player to the crisis, thankfully. So in Europe, I think, again, most of the financial crisis was more in the US. But in Europe, I think we were a lot more structured, we were a lot more conservative. The exposure and on all the mortgage-backed securities and corporate debt was in the States. But however, I think so. I started from there, and I actually was in the thick of it. I've always been in finance. Straight from there, I looked again. We're going to talk about this, but I looked around, and the key challenge I saw in Ireland was that all the top guys were in the UK. They were giving us orders in the UK across the world. Again, UK, London being the financial hub for Europe. I wanted to be there, so I applied straight to Europe, to UK. I applied for a promotion as well, which is even worse. And I'll come into the mindset and how you should work as an employee. I was an employee, but right. I thought about this and I applied and I got it I can disclose that later, as a VP. I went straight as a VP in London, which was again unheard of at the time, especially in the middle of the crisis. I went against the grain and I applied. And I did that for quite a few years. And then this thing called Switzerland came up. Again, I heard about Switzerland. We all heard about Switzerland, similar as you have. And I know for one thing as well, they're the financial hub when it comes to Europe. And again, the good or bad story you hear about them, I think the important thing is the integrity of banking, which is quite important in Switzerland. Also the knowledge as well and the financial structure there. And so based on that, then I applied to actually one bank that's dead now, Credit Suisse. I started off at Credit Suisse in Switzerland. Again, I think it's just my bad luck. No, but I think the main challenge then was we saw how structured and how crazy the market was for Credit Suisse. Again, in everything, there's always an opportunity. So Credit Suisse was like really structurally all a mess at the point. But I went in and helped them as much as possible in terms of project management. I started with project management, business analysis, and then grew there for about 5 to 6 years then. Before I decided to go out on my own and form my own company. So again, I think what makes me an expert, sorry, but what makes me an expert then is basically this is what I've lived and breathed. So for the last 18 years, I've worked in finance. I've seen finance. I've seen how banking thinks and the best way possible to spin that around and make that much more exciting to clients and provide that integrity back in the financial structure and financial markets.
Wow, that is some history you got there. Okay, so that story is crazy. What a business history. And I'm imagining that if you're doing very well in business, most people are happy doing that. What made you decide to leave the corporate world and start your own business? What made you decide I want to be an owner instead of what I'm doing?
Good point. So do you play board games? You play
chess?
Chess?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, good. So again, I apply, and that's my game, right? I apply chess to everything in life, right? So if you look at it, right, and I'm not a really good chess player, but in general, you always think of your move and not just your move, your opponent's move, right? So at any point, you're always thinking 3, 4, 5 steps ahead. That's my problem. So, and this applies to everything and to everyone listening to this, right? So it's not really just about working in the corporate world or you could just wake up or be straight out of university. I've always thought about this, right? And it started all the way from being in Nigeria as well. And I had to look at myself and go, okay, my very next step is to go to university. Done. Everyone expects that. Okay. But then after that, what do you want to do? So that was it. And that was what I couldn't answer at the point. But I did know I was going to work in a top bank. And that was as far as I could go.
Okay.
And that was it. And from a teenage age, I was like, okay, I'm going to work in a top bank because you hear the money being thrown around. You know, you're a teenager, you hear the money being thrown around. And I was, okay, that's where I want to be. And I walked up from there. And the same thing, I started working in banking. And the same thing is where I looked at it, I'm like, okay, what do I want to do? I hear the crazy bonuses thrown around. I'm working in finance. So a lot of users do. And they don't hear this bonus. You hear the bonus amount, but it doesn't come to you. I was sitting there doing operations for finance. I'm like, okay, where's the money? I'm not seeing this. I'm reading it in the paper. So and so I started researching, right? And that's it. So what makes me take a step then is first things first is you need to know where you want to be, right? And that same thing, similar thing as well. I sat and I looked, okay, I worked in banking then, and I looked at the board and I looked at everyone who's earning a lot of money. And I would go into those floors and see what they're doing. And right now, and when a good age, but I just started, I wish I'd known this before, right? Right now, you could go into LinkedIn and see what people do. If you believe this is what, so first thing, identify what you want to do, and then look at the profile and the structure of what people have done to get there, right? And some people you can't tell, and you know that's not going to last. But others you can't tell. You can pick up Jeff Bezos and see exactly what he did, when he started from, when he got down, all the way you can follow the journey. So that's what I did. So in fact, that's all. So I can tell you that's my secret. I go in, I look at the top people I want to be or emulate, and then look at their journey and walk towards that. 3, 4, 5 steps in advance. Again, most people, I think, again, I've worked in, I'm not going to throw shade at the people I've worked with. But most people are happy to get their paycheck and move on.
Absolutely.
Or work on the next possible. Yeah. And then the next thing you're working on is a promotion. Okay, I want to get a promotion, and hopefully I get a promotion. That's it. And the next step, okay, I want to retire, which is what 90% of the people do, if not more, 99. And then there's 1%, which everyone looks at. But those 1% didn't just wake up to say, I'm going to start a company, right? They said, listen, I want to be great. I want to be a top person. I mean, if you look at Amazon, Jeff Bezos is going to say, hey, you know, I did. But in truth, he sat there. He wasn't banking as well, funny enough. He was making enough money banking at Wall Street. But he sat there and said, and he had to take a step down to go back home. So he sat there and he said, you know, I want to work and I want to start something great, something big. There's a chance with books. As boring as that sounds, there's a chance with books. He started with books. Look where he is now. Same thing as well. So my story, I started and I was working in Switzerland at the time. And I looked forward and I looked around and I could see that people were making more money that sat beside me and were directors, MDs, and would leave and come back. And every other person knew about this, but no one cares. And I can tell you, if you pick any role around you would see people earning 5, 6 times and working beside you and doing the same hours. But some people just blind themselves to it or turn around and blame the company. But you need to look at yourself and go, okay, what do I do to get to that stage? Right? And you could do a lot. Again, the power is in your hand. You decide what you want to be, especially in this world today. You can sit, okay, you could say, again, how crazy is it? You could sit there and go, I want to be famous. I want to be a YouTube star. And you can be a YouTube star, right? You can just go in, pick a YouTube star, see the journey, and emulate it. And that was it. Again, that's how I started. And I found out easily, again, going back to your question, I found out quite easily then, that I wasn't happy, or people in my role were not happy. So you look up the chain. I mean, I was sitting as a VP, but you look up to an MD coming into work and you could see that they're not happy. But then you look around and you see an entrepreneur with his shed in a corner, but they're happy going in. They don't even have to wake up in the morning. They don't have alarms. Like most entrepreneurs don't have alarms, right? Because they know what they need to do and they're happy doing it. So that's my point. So you don't just look at a step in front of you. You look 3, 4, 5 steps in advance. See what you're doing and try and emulate that story or try and get to that journey.
I love it. I love it. And you made a valid point. Most of my friends can't believe that I don't use an alarm clock. I do because I don't want to sleep all day. But yeah, you come in when you come in, especially when you get the business. And that's what I tell people. When you own your own business, when it's a challenge, right? But when you get it right, it's so sweet. It's a sweet thing. So for those who are listening who haven't started their own business and they're wondering, should I take the leap? Give it a shot. Give it a shot. You can be successful. And when you find the success that you design, I like what you said, right? You think ahead. This is where I want to be. And once you hit that, it can be very, very, very sweet. Success is interesting because each one of us has a different definition, right?
Correct.
So I'm going to ask you, how do you define success? Do you know what it takes to be successful as a business owner? There are 5 keys that every business owner has to master in order to be successful. How do I know these keys? Well, I used to say that I made them up, but really, I've learned these 5 keys in 2 ways. My name is Marc Adams. I'm the owner of Next Level Business Advisors and the host of the podcast, Business Stories of Success. In the podcast, we discuss success with business owners from around the world. We talk about what it means to them, how they achieve it, and the single biggest quality or personality trait that's needed in order to be successful. As a profitability and growth business advisor, I work with business owners around the country to help them increase profit and or accelerate growth. Now I say or because some business owners aren't properly positioned to accelerate growth. In those cases, we actually focus on honing in on profitability. If you are a business owner and you're excited about improving your profit or accelerating your growth, feel free to download my free ebook, Mastering the 5 Keys to Make Your Business Successful. It's found at my website, nlbusinessadvisors.com/5 keys. That's the number 5 keys. You can also subscribe to my podcast, Business Stories of Success. And if you're really ready to start accelerating your growth, feel free to schedule your free discovery call. We'll talk about where you are today, what your goals are, your challenges, your obstacles, and I can help you to hurdle some of the hurdles to your own business success. Join me at Next Level Business Advisors and schedule your appointment today.
Oh, that's a good question. I define, again, that's true. You decide, right? No one can tell you. You decide success. Oh, okay, let me throw this down, right? So if you look back, let's think of one of the most hated people. He's not the top, right? I would say top 5 people in America. Let's go. Trump, right? Look at Trump. Trump can stop right now. Trump has been successful. Trump has won. Trump was so rich that he had a TV show and he could have stopped there, right? But that's not success to him, right? So think about that. So it's not about that. Oh, okay, let's go away from finance. Kobe Bryant, for instance. Kobe could have stopped at any point. He kept playing till his mid-40s, and he carries on. Same thing as well, LeBron. So success, I'll tell you right off the bat, is not becoming an entrepreneur, right? Because it could carry on forever. You only know when you stop, and you then get addicted to winning, right? Which winning and success is not the same thing. So we should draw that line, right?
Okay.
Yeah, and to me, so it comes back to me then. So the success to me is being happy, being able to do what you wanted to do a long time ago and looking back with happiness on that, and that's it. So I can look back on my life, 5, 20, 10 years ago and go, 5 or 10 years ago, would I be happy what I'm doing right now? Yes, it makes me happy.
Nice.
See what I mean? If for some reason you look back and you see, and if you can't do that, then you should take time out from your work, take time out of what you're doing to look back and go, would I be happy with myself right now? Because again, you set your goals. If you set your goals in advance, 3, 4, 5 steps, right? Then at some point you can always look back to say, okay, what am I doing right now? If for some reason, and then this happens to a lot of entrepreneurs, so we should warn as well, right? You can be an entrepreneur and not be happy. You can be an entrepreneur and spend all your time working. That's the risk, such that you don't have a family life, you don't talk to your friends. You mentioned talking to your friends. That's lucky. There are a lot of entrepreneurs that don't have friends, can't talk to their friends. Yeah, and I listened to Brian, I think the Airbnb guy. He was just going to how depressing it is for him with all the money he has. Effectively, he still doesn't have a partner, and friends. He's just about looking at friends now after he got listed on the stock exchange. So that means he had 2 years where he did nothing but work. And that point out, I'm sure he looked back, he goes to retreats now, he does a retreat and tries to get his life back, right? But my point then is, at some point, she should have, in the thick of things, look back and go, is this success? Is this what I wanted 5, 10 years ago? I don't think so. Do you see what I mean? Yes, you have the money, but I'm sure 5, 6 years ago, yourself, or 5, 6 years ago, still wanted the friendships, still wanted the what do you call it, the family, and then still wanted success. So the question is, how you draw that balance is what makes you happy. Yeah, I'm not going to claim that I have the perfect balance, but I'm happy. You know, I can look back 5 years ago and go, okay, I'm not really there yet. I still want more. I still want more success. I still want more companies. I want my company to grow. I want the users to actually grow. I want to be one of the top companies that we talk when it comes to savings, budgeting as a group. But in general, I'm happy. You know, and that to me is what success is.
Nice.
You know?
So you kind of alluded to it already, but tell us, just give us 1 or 2 things that you do to make sure that you're continuing to have success.
Yeah, well, actually, I didn't. So I'll tell you what, right? Again, I've forgotten what book I read this on, right? Which is, and it's almost a cliche, but it's true, right? So if you go into a room and you're the smartest person in the room, then you're in the wrong room.
Right.
Have you heard that, right? And that's the truth, right? So if you're in a room and somehow you're the most successful person there, then you're either you're just so far off, right? And that's the truth. So my point then is, it's easy for us to rest and be happy where we're at. Again, I'm African, right? And you'd be the same as well, most African Americans, I'd say Europeans across the world. We're happy looking back at looking downwards, if that makes sense. So we're comfortable looking downwards. So for me, I remember in Nigeria growing up, everyone brags about how they're the first to go to university in their family. Like, I'm the first to go to university. Whoa, I made it. Okay. Why don't you look up to say, okay, of the people in university, right? How, like, what did you get? Are you going to come out with a 2.2, a 2.1? Are you going to graduate first class? Are you going to be the top of your class? You need to work towards that. But most people are not comfortable doing that, right? And that's the same thing as well. You go into a floor, you're a manager, and maybe you're the manager of 10 people. You're happy doing that. You're comfortable. You walk into the floor and it's yours, right? That's it. Human tendency is to be happy doing that. What you want to do is go into another room with managers and then see, are you the top performing person in that room as a manager? If you're not, I'll tell you what, you're not going to be successful. You're going to sit on that managerial role for years because you're comfortable doing that. So to me, I continually challenge myself. So, and I would say the same as well to readers, you know, always challenge yourself. If for some reason you go in, you sit in a room and you're the smartest person, it's good to impart the knowledge. But anything more is just domineering and you're just blowing your own trumpet. You just need to move and go on, talk to other people. And, you know, look, again, I go back to social media. We're in an age where social media just allows everything. You can pick up a phone and just call it, and okay, if you work in, I don't know, like if you work in Bed Bath and Beyond for some reason, right? You could always go in and say, listen, I want to own Airbnb. I want to own, you know, a hotel. You can pick up a real estate guy and talk to them right off the bat and have coffee with them straight up from LinkedIn. You know, and I say that because I've done this before as well. I wouldn't encourage people to do it, but I did this 100%. So I went in and I was listening to a newscaster on Bloomberg. Very good analysis. Like he went through the markets correctly, went through, I think it was during the liquidity crisis last year, banks were going down. So he went through the Fed rate and how things are going and when he sees a recession coming in. He finished that conversation. And I'm telling you, this is, again, personal experience. As soon as I finished the conversation, I said, God, I love that analysis. I went to his LinkedIn and I typed his name and I requested a follow straight away to follow him. And I said, very good analysis. I would like to spend some time with you to hear more. I got a 15 minutes meeting with him. He left, like it was real time, so I know he left. He left and added me and then came back and gave me a calendar, 2-3 weeks time. But I was able to talk to him. That's how accessible people are these days. And then the question then is, are you looking that direction? Or are you looking downwards to where you're already working at and you're happy and comfortable where you're at? You know, and that's what I'll say to people as well. You know, don't be comfortable where you're at. And that's how you're successful. You know, if you look at any of the top guys that we know, they're definitely not comfortable where they are. Elon Musk, love him or hate him, he could sit on his laurels where he was at Tesla, and he was doing well at Tesla.
He was
considering what he did, right? But then he went into X. Why he did that, we would never know. Because again, he thinks ahead of us. So that's the point about his goals. He's thinking way ahead of us. He knows where he's going to. He might fail or not. Doesn't matter. And I'll come into taking risk, if you do ask me later, right? As an entrepreneur, you take risks. So he's taking a risk. And that's all that matters. And no matter what he learns from it, that's better than him just sitting at Tesla and wishing that his ideas that he had on X would come to pass, and just telling his friends every night at the pub, hey, I could do stuff with Tesla, but I'm not doing it, and that's a lot that happens to us.
Right. Let me ask you this question. It's interesting. You talked about Musk. He's made a lot of big mistakes too in business, but he's still successful. So what's one big mistake you've made? Or not big, but what mistake have you made on your business journey that you learned from that helped you to overcome and grow in success?
Yeah, good point. So, I mean, as a business person, you make a lot of mistakes, right? So I can
Yes,
tell
I was
you,
born for them.
so I did one business where I lost so much money, and that was a game. I was looking. I picked the most boring topics. I can tell you that's my secret. So I picked the most boring topics and I try and make it fun,
Okay,
or make it better,
I like that.
right? Yeah, I can tell you right off. A lot of people do that. You could do everything, the most boring thing, and do it for people. People rather offshore push that away, and you could do it for free or charge them money for that, and that becomes a service. That's an easy entrepreneur go down the road. And so I did that with gold. So gold, boring topic, just sits there, no one cares about it. And I said, listen, why don't I try and make it fractional reserve? So it's a good idea. So anyone could take this up as well. So I thought of buying gold and then splitting it so that everyone owns a piece of the gold.
Okay.
Right, which is a good idea at the point, right? Except I forgot to think about storing the gold, the cost associated with storing the gold, cost associated with the paperwork, because now you suddenly have a gold of, say, a bar of gold worth 30,000. You have 10,000 people who own a piece of that gold, and some might want to buy and sell it. So I can tell you right now, it was so complex to do. I lost quite, I think, quite a lot of money on that one, and I had to shut it down for 3 months. 6 months actually. And again, I think the point I'm making there then is about taking risk, right? So I took a risk that was too far. Again, thinking of a move, I wanted to do something, but I wasn't ready, right? And that's one thing we talk about in the entrepreneurial journey. You need to be ready to take the move. So I wasn't ready. And yeah, I failed big time on that one.
Okay.
I think
so what did you learn from it though? It sounds like the lesson you learned is that it's okay to take risks, but they have to be almost like reachable risks. Does that make sense?
Calculated risk, exactly. Reachable, calculated. Well, something that you can afford to risk and fail if it came to, but you still learn. We'll talk about this, right? So, but what I found anyway was, firstly, is you need to take a risk, but you need to have a fallback plan as well. So most entrepreneurs, again, you'd see most people that have failed, you fail within reason. If you fail such that you have nothing, the business goes downhill, and you've got nothing to survive on, that's not the type of entrepreneurial spirit I would encourage. At least on me coming from a finance background,
Agreed.
I'm more conservative on that one. So I'd rather people go into entrepreneurship, go into business, and be calculated with their risk, and because always have a fallback plan if worse came to us.
I like that. Do we have time for one more question? Can I ask this one? Get your thoughts?
Yes, please.
What do you think is the single most important quality needed to be a successful business owner?
One. Can I go two?
How about one and 1A? Okay, hit me.
Okay, what exactly? Okay, so I think the first one then is just being able to pivot and learn, right? So you learn, you move, you learn, you move. That's easy. So again, you go into America, the land of dreams, for instance. You learn, you go in, you start one role. Don't be comfortable. Always move. So that's one thing, entrepreneur. You go into a business, it doesn't work, you're ready to move. So at any point, you need to be ready to pivot and move from where you currently are.
Okay.
And that's important. That's one great one. The second B, I would say, is just being able to take on risk, right? And that means you're taking on risk, means that you're ready, you have a fallback plan. And that's one advice I would give right off the bat. You go in, you think of what you want to do, and have a fallback plan. Again, I've talked about me going into finance. I worked in finance and then went straight there. But for me to go in, I worked on my own business first. I made sure I had a client waiting, right? And I made sure as well that that client waiting, I could fall back and have 6 months worth of work with that client.
Nice.
And then I'll make that move. So I think in terms, you need to take risks, but it has to be calculated. You have to have a fallback plan if you need to, and then talk to people. I'm going to repeat the same thing again. As in try, okay, that's C, I'm cheating there. You have to talk to people. Be able to open up. You can talk to anyone today. You can go into Facebook, go into LinkedIn, everywhere. Pick one person you like, pick one person you want to emulate, follow that person's track and talk to them.
I like it. I'm writing a little note there because I like that. That really is powerful to have that fallback plan, but also to, in a way, find that mentor. Find the guy who's ahead of you, and then follow the course, and you can find success. I like that. I like that. Hey, I know I said I had one final question, but if you don't mind, can I ask you just one more?
Yeah, go on, please.
What advice would you give to a brand new business owner if he was starting tomorrow? What's the first thing you would tell him to do?
Plan.
Say it again.
Just write out a plan. Plan. Right. So again, and people say about this, right? Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face.
That's what Tyson said.
I think Mike Tyson, exactly. So have a plan, but have a backup plan. But just right now, you're starting tomorrow. Is your plan? Are you set? Is your plan set? Okay, good. What happens if that fails? Okay, you got it. Okay, good. Then what happens if that product doesn't fail? Okay, you got that. Okay, good. How are you getting money from your suppliers? You got that sorted. Okay, you got a credit line waiting. Okay, good. So and then how about your customers? You got 2-3 customers. Okay, how's the pipeline looking? So when I say fallback, I mean like deep all the way. Fallback, I have a fallback plan just in case. So plan. And as an entrepreneur, you're everything to the business, right? You're the face of the business. Your employees look to you. Your kids, if you have kids, look to you. The rent, everything still has to be paid. Therefore, what you don't want to do is just have one plan and just put your head to it. So have a plan. I have a fallback plan and a fallback plan. And just be ready to be able to just pivot and move.
I like it a lot. Hey, thank you so much, Patrick. This was really, really enlightening. We appreciated the knowledge you gave us, especially about planning. It's going to make all the difference in the world for entrepreneurs who are just starting out. So thank you so much, and we enjoyed listening to your journey, and we look forward to your continued journey to success.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mark. It's been a pleasure.